Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. Spending the Orthodox and Eastern Catholic Easter in Ukraine last week was a very powerful experience, even though I brought back another cold. I was privileged to stay at the Ukrainian Greek Catholic University in Lviv and attend the liturgies there and in the city. Although, as I said last week when asking for your prayers, and I thank you very much for them, I was not going under the auspices of Nazarene and not at the charity's expense. The advocacy part of my mission was certainly strengthened by this visit. Sadly, the Western media is not very interested in the life and history of the Ukrainian Catholic Church, yet it is a martyr church which emerged from terrible persecution under the communists in 1989 and has achieved something of a resurrection. One of the priests who helped during the visit described the Ukrainian Catholic Church during those times of persecution as a catacomb church, and it truly was. Underground seminaries, masses in woods and countryside, catechesis in homes. The university where I stayed has all been built in the last 30 years. But where the Russians have already occupied, like the Donbass region, once again the church is experiencing hostility and forms of persecution. The priest, Father Andrew, even said they were talking about how they would work if they had to become a catacomb church again. Yet there was no sense of hopelessness, and as I've experienced before in Iraq and Syria, a gratitude that there are at least some in the West who want to come and advocate for their church, a gratitude which makes one humble. The history of the Ukrainian Catholic Church is reflected very much in the liturgies of Holy Week. Arriving on Holy Thursday night, within minutes an air raid siren went off, just a day or two before missiles had hit Lviv and killed 7 people. Death and life are part of the liturgy, the mysteries, as the Church of the East calls them. Eastern Catholic worship is long, no in and out in an hour, but it draws one into a sense of the transcendent. The participation of the faithful is mystical, not lots of chit-chat, but worship. I was struck, as I have been before when I've attended Eastern Rite worship, about the constant chant of Lord have mercy, Gospodi pomilu in Ukrainian. Hundreds of times it's chanted during the liturgy, but also, unlike in the Western Church, the Alleluia is heard once or twice during the Lenten liturgies. This to me was the profound spiritual lesson of both the suffering and the resurrection of the Ukrainian Greek Catholic Church, but also the message of Easter for all of us. In the famous icon of the resurrection, Christ enters the underworld on Holy Saturday and grasps the hand of Adam and Eve. According to an ancient homily, he cries in what was a hymn of the early church, "Awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." God's mercy, expounded in another early text from the 3rd century, has God the Father say to Adam, "I will send my Son, he will descend to save you." Bishop Eric Varden has written that in this, God shows his never-ending mercy and faithfulness. The suffering of the Ukrainian Catholic Church saw a remarkable resurrection following the end of communism. It will also rise again after this time of suffering. This is our life, both death and resurrection. We must constantly call on God's mercy, stretch out our hand like Adam's, and hold fast to the hand of Christ, held out to us in the sacraments and in the mysteries. Brethren, rejoice, be perfected, be comforted, be of the same mind, be at peace, and the God of peace and love will be with you.